about the interior and let's talk about some plumbing issues. Okay? Go back to our floor. Here's our stem wall, here's our footing, here's our floor. You will see, let's say we have a shower. Okay, this is our exterior wall. Here's our glass shower. Okay, here's our shower pan. That creates the drain. That then runs through the PVC out to the sewer or septic. That's supposed to be there. So this could be a shower, it could be a toilet, anything with a drain, sink. A lot of people have the great idea, like, I want to put my shower over here instead. Well, to move the drain presents the problem. Obviously this pipe is fine, but you got to create a new drain, which means you're going to cut up the concrete and run a new drain. So you have to jackhammer, then you got to come back and you got to secure this and close this pipe up. So they might cap it inside the floor. They might cap it just below the floor. Let the drain stick up and cap it there. But you're still ripping apart the floor to move the drain. Moving drains is the worst idea. Unless you absolutely have to do it, it becomes problematic. We just had a question where we had a washer and dryer that weren't in the same room. To move the washer where the dryer is was the easiest, but because there was no drain in that room, it became impossible. So the dryer had to go where the washer was because there's no way to run that drain. Here's another problem. Let's talk about a floor plan. Again, I'm not going to get into detail, I just want to, okay? Currently, my laundry room is right here. Right? Here's my washer, here's my dryer. I would love to move them to this side of the house. And I put my washer and dryer there. If there's no drain over here, let's say the closest bathroom is right here. Right? There's your toilet, maybe it's your powder bath, right? There's your sink. So now, to get to the drain line that's under this room from this washer, you would have to cut out concrete, literally, dig a trench, break up the floor, just to be able to run that drain from where that washing machine is to where the nearest drain is. Don't see it a lot, but you see people that want to do rehabs and refinishes. There's a lot more that goes into it, especially when you're moving drains. Anytime you're moving drains, it's going to be cost prohibitive, I can promise you that. The hardest part is finding that other drain, right? This drain could go this way and out of the house. It could come this way and go out of the house. So then it'd be easier to connect it, but you don't know. So what do? You guess. You start cutting up the concrete around the bathroom to figure out where the drain lines go. Thus, then you can figure out where to break up the concrete to run the washing machine drain. Just not worth it. Not a very good idea. A couple things again when we talk about plumbing and concrete. These lines under the ground cannot be gas. Okay, that's a fairly newer code, 94. Sometimes you're going to see an island with a gas cooktop. So that can be concerning because you don't know where the gas is. It's got to be coming from underground. And if it was built before 94, that was allowable. The problem is venting those properly. You got to make sure that you have a drop-in gas cooktop that's properly vented, which becomes a whole other hassle. So if people are thinking about that, explain that running gas under the concrete is no longer applicable to building code. You could, to get it to the island's impossible, but you could run it down a wall, through the ceiling, through the attic, stuff like that, but not under the slab. Okay. All right, here's a question we get. Not as much in real estate as we did in architecture. Stairs. Okay, so stairs have a building code that says our rise versus our run can be, I believe at the time, last I remember, it's 8 inches max on the rise. And the run is a minimum of 12 inches. So, if you have to go up 8 feet, well, that's a bad one. Let's say we have to go 12 feet. It's 144 inches. Divide that by 8. It's 64. That's 18 steps. And if your stairs are a 12-inch run minimum, you need 18 feet. So people don't understand, to get from floor A to floor B takes a lot of space. And I get clients a lot that will say, how would I run stairs to get up to the second floor? Probably can't. Especially in a house that's already constructed. It's really, really difficult because of the code requirements on the stairs to make that work. And I hope that makes sense. Basically, just remember run and rise. Run is the length horizontal, the rise is the vertical. Each step can only go up 8 inches, so if you have to go up 8 feet, now keep in mind most ceilings are 12 feet. Then you have a floor joist to get over. So you're looking at 13, 14 feet by the time you have to get up steps. You're looking at 24 feet worth of steps. Now you can do switchbacks where you go up. We've all seen this, where you have stairs, right? You go up and keep going. But again, you still have to cover 18 steps. And landings have to be 36 inches square minimum. So you just increased your area that you're trying to cover by quite a bit. So stairs are pretty easy to understand, but a lot of clients want to add second floors or put stairs in to get to the second floor in a different location. Not easy to do, and not highly recommended. Okay. Lastly, we'll go over a couple electrical things. Okay. So you walk into a room, there's 2 switches on the wall. One controls the fan, it doesn't have a light. The other one you hit and nothing turns on. So what you have there is we call a half hot. So what you have is you're going to have an outlet somewhere in the room. Let me look at an outlet just to get an idea. It's going to look like this. It's technically upside down versus the typical outlet. So usually what this is, they call it the half hot. Usually this one is hot all the time, and this is switched. So when you hit that switch and nothing comes on in the room, look for the half hot outlet, and then you can explain to your clients that that's what that switch is for. Most people don't understand this concept, but once you show it to them, they understand it very, very well. This is kind of a cool little trick as an agent to say, hey, look how smart I am. Not everybody understands that or knows it, but that's basically how it works. The outlets are upside down. The hot one's usually on top, meaning it's hot all the time. You plug something in, it turns on. The switch one means you plug it in, you have to go back to the switch, hit the switch, and voila, it turns on. Okay, so those are kind of cool things to understand and kind of know. Okay, you'll see the term GFCI, ground fault current. I don't know what the I stands for. Basically, they're outlets that are in wet areas. Laundry room, kitchen, okay? They have to be GFCI protected. Obviously, this comes up in every inspection. So those are things to look for. They'll usually label GFCI. Older homes don't have them. They're easy to switch. You just buy a new outlet and have an electrician to switch them out. It's pretty easy. Now, when we look at exterior, we're looking at weatherproofing GFCIs. And usually that'll be like an outlet. Well, I can't draw it, but it'll have like a cover. It's gonna have some kind of exterior cover over it. That protects it from the weather, and that's what you'll see on the outside homes. Again, another thing that comes up on inspections. Not a lot of builders, especially before the code changed in probably '98, did the WGFCIs. They just did GFCI outlets outside. That used to be good enough, it's not anymore. It has to be weather protected. So those are kind of things that you'll see. So if somebody goes, oh my gosh, it's not, all the outlets in the house aren't GFCI. It's not that big of a deal. It's pretty easy to switch out, okay? One thing that isn't easy to switch, and when you deal with older homes, aluminum wire. So we see a lot of aluminum wire now. Why aluminum wire? So the idea is, and the physics are, when copper gets hot, the wire doesn't get hot when the electricity's on. Aluminum does. So if you have 2 aluminum wires, or you have aluminum wire that's close to something combustible, like drywall, that's how fires can start. Now, there's 10,000 homes in the valley with aluminum wires, and none of them are catching on fire. Okay, it's just a concern that they had. They switched the code. Everything has to be copper. If you have a house that has aluminum wire, It's very simple. You just buy outlets that have pigtails on them, they're called. Just like the animal. And all it is it's converting the aluminum wire back to copper, and it keeps it from getting hot throughout the run of the wire. I don't know how they do it, it just does. I had a house I did it in, I think it was about $17 an outlet, which doesn't sound like a lot, so you start adding up how many outlets are in a house. But usually buyers and sellers will come to some agreement. The panel also will have issues with the aluminum wire, but there's some things that you can buy for the panel that protect the aluminum wire as well. Okay, so that covers the electrical, plumbing, structure, roof. We covered basically everything, site plans, foundation. That pretty much wraps up the architectural features of a home. Obviously, this is like my first life, my first career, so I love this stuff. If you ever have any questions on it, you can call me and ask me. I'd be happy to help. Thanks.